welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
Well, today do we have a mouthful for you? So get ready, fasten your seatbelts because we're going to let it go. Today, we want to talk about embracing the ever changing nature of people and experiences while allowing them to unfold in their own unique way.
Mm.
Wow. Do we do that? Do we allow people and experiences to change
I,
or don't
well,
we?
I can tell you for me, in the past, I have not, but I have been, since I kind of have been hearing this message, I have been embracing that idea
Yeah.
and like actually um looking forward to experiences being a different way, even for myself, like even for I know we were talking about this beforehand, like we do all the time. And I was saying it's even like how you're going to be in a specific situation and experience as well, because you don't know like what it is. Like you can use your past data for like this is what it is, but you're not like I'm not even the same as I was the last time a specific experience happened. I
Right.
change every day. So this is like something that keeping it curious, being curious, like I think even that was something when Topher, my eldest, went back to school in September. And I had said that to you. I'm curious. I'm keeping it open. I'm being curious as to what I'm going to feel like when he goes back home
Because it
to
might be different.
because it might be different. And it was.
Right.
It absolutely was different. So
Yeah.
it's like that kind of thing, like even allowing myself to be different, but allowing other people to be different, allowing experiences to be different. That was something
Right.
we were talking about.
Yeah. Because how does that work for you and to our listeners?
Hmm.
Do you have people in your life that maybe, say, for example, maybe they're a negative person?
Right.
Do you expect them to always be negative?
Right.
What if one day they were positive? Would you even
Right.
notice?
Right.
Would you even notice the difference?
Right.
And, or even a childhood friend, like you say,
Hmm.
do you expect them to always be the same type of person?
Right.
Because I know if I were to see people from my high school years, from my young adult years,
Hmm.
I'm not at all the same person that I
Right.
was then. But would I fall back into that same person just
Exactly.
because I was around them? And it's the same way as a parent. When my kids were growing up, I used to talk to them about choosing your friends wisely, because who you hang around with is what you're going to become.
Right.
And is that true?
Yeah.
Like, if you hang around with the school bully, are you going to become that kind of person?
Right.
If you hang around somebody who's full of light and love, are you going to radiate that?
Right. Right.
And I personally believe that you do create your own destiny. You
Hmm.
create who you want to be little by little, you know,
Yes.
you change. But do people see you as a changed person? And I know I run into that all the time, like people from my past who don't know me who I am now,
Right.
who still expect me to be that person.
And they expect you to react in the ways that you used to react, maybe even like the things that, because I know me personally as well, like there could be times where maybe when I was younger, hanging around with specific friends, I found specific things funny that I
Yeah,
no longer find humorous now.
right.
Or that I may have, I mean, I don't know, maybe things like, I guess one thing that people can kind of equate to is like, when you're young, you might go out all the time and then like you don't anymore because like you're
Yeah,
like, oh, now I have a responsibility, like that kind of stuff. But then the people who you used to hang around with all the time expect you to be a certain way and act a certain way and respond a certain way. And
yeah,
if you've like, I know I've changed, I can change in a day. Like I can be somebody totally different tomorrow than I am today, or like, a week, a month, a year, any of those things. And so when you're thinking of somebody who you might have talked to 10 years ago and you haven't seen them yet since then, and then you do something and they're like, that's weird, right? Like that kind of thing. But
yeah,
it's the same, like you said, it's the same with the other person too, I do feel energetically as well. Like if you come in with a preconceived notion of how somebody is going to be, your ego will actually find the evidence of that. Like you'll have
Right.
confirmation bias. You will be looking for, like you said, if there's somebody who you think has been negative in the past, when you approach them, you're going to think that they're negative. And so
Yeah.
anything that they say, you're going to take with that negative perspective. And
Right.
you're going to say, see, there's proof because your ego loves to find proof. Your ego, it's a taskmaster. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm on a task to find something different. So this is where if I sit back and go, well, I'm going to be curious, like that's going to be my task. I'm going to be curious and see what happens and maybe even see the person in a different light. That person could be me as well,
Yeah.
right? That person could be me. And I know that I had a situation at the end of July where I reconnected with a family member who I hadn't spoke to in years. And I had that anticipation, like, anxiety of, oh no, this is going to be a horrible situation because the last time that we had talked was over a fight. Just a second. And I had not spoken to her in all of that time. And when I was reminded by one of my friends that you have changed, like she could have changed, you have changed.
Yeah.
So like let's go to the and that's exactly what happened. When I went to the situation, we actually had a very good situation, like very good. And this past Saturday, it was her birthday, and we did a video call with our family, and we had a nice discussion again. Like it
Yeah.
was, so now my ego is going, see, you have evidence that this can be different, that this can be something. And again, it's just, I'm not saying she didn't do any changes for sure, but like I came to the situation with the energy of, let's be curious, let's see
With an
what's going to
open
happen.
mind
Yeah.
and looking at things different.
Yes.
And it's not just people that pertains to. When
Hmm.
it says about people and experiences,
Right.
I have an example of experiences.
Hmm.
You know, as I said to you earlier, I don't like winter.
Yeah, that's right.
So I have anticipatory emotions now that it's fall and the weather's changing and I
Hmm.
feel winter coming. I have an emotion that goes along with that, a
Right.
past emotion because I don't like winter.
Hmm.
So my brain says, you don't like winter, this is going to be awful.
Right.
What if it isn't?
Right.
What if it isn't?
Right.
Being open to the possibility, just because in the past, I don't like winter
Hmm.
and I can't recall a lot of fun things to do
Yeah.
with winter,
Yeah.
doesn't, am I closing off the possibility of that being that? And
Right.
I personally believe, yes, I am.
Right.
If I go into it with that closed door thing of,
Yep.
I don't like winter and I experience sad in
Yeah.
winter because it's not enough light and all of that,
Hmm.
I'm setting myself up for that
Right.
instead of embracing it might be wonderful.
Hmm.
I might do a bunch of new things this winter
Yeah.
that I've never done before.
Right.
I I might love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Where,
might meet somebody who shows me a whole new perspective of it. I might not experience sad
right.
because I'm in a different emotional place.
Right.
You know, it's allowing that.
Hmm.
And for our listeners, I would ask you and invite you to approach it that way.
Right.
People and experiences. Approach it with that curiosity, as Bunny talked about.
Yeah.
Approach it with, it could be different
Right.
every day. Approach every
Yeah.
day with that approach of, it could be different than what I
Yeah.
experienced yesterday. And
Yeah.
how exciting is that? If we can wake up every day excited for something new
Right. Exactly. And like
instead
just,
of staying the same.
yeah. And well, that's the whole thing is like one of the universal laws, right, is that everything changes. Like we're always, like it's always moving, and you could just look around and see that like in everyday life, like it's all, everything changes all the time. And just when you think you're like in this groove and you're gonna like something comes along, bumps you off, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're over here now. And so it's how you come at it is going to be what frequency you're in, is going to be what you think and how you experience it. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about trying to see a new perspective that is like feels even a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Just something that feels a little bit better. And the only way you can do that is by letting go of what you think you know, what you think you know about yourself, what you think you know about other people, what you think you know about experiences, right? Like you said with the winter stuff, like you don't
Yeah.
know. Winter is, 4 months, whatever it is here, and you don't know. Like you don't you could get an invitation to go somewhere and hang out for a month in
Yeah.
some like tropical place where somebody's like all
Or even
expenses
in a
paid.
winter destination and see
Yeah,
it from a whole different point of view.
right,
And the world, like you said, is ever changing. Look
right,
outside, the leaves are changing.
right,
There's, birds, butterflies that migrate to different parts of the
right,
world all the time. The world is ever changing. And part of what we feel right now is the fact that our world is changing.
right.
And it's it's kind of like a little topsy-turvy right
Right.
now
Yeah.
because so many things are changing at one time.
Hmm.
And it's funny because what I'm going to say right now we certainly never expect, because you and I don't talk about political situations and that
Right.
kind of stuff. But I feel to say this, that the whole world is changing.
Yeah.
The whole world is upside down. On the other side of the world there's wars and controversy and that kind of stuff. Really, right next door to us in America, in the
Yeah.
United States, there's change coming. In
Right.
Canada there's change coming.
Right.
And if you look at it from a political
Right.
factor, if
Yeah.
you look at it from a financial factor, there's change coming.
Right.
What if we just embrace those changes
Yeah.
and differences every single day
Yeah.
for whatever it happens to be?
And just stay curious and remain open-minded to what is going to happen instead of I know it's something that, it's easy to slip into like fear of the unknown because it feels very like you don't have a solid footing when you're not sure about that change. There was something that I just heard today, and I can't remember who said it, but said like just like picking up your foot, to take that next step does feel very imbalanced. But like just like when you're a baby and you're taking your first steps and you're very imbalanced and you're kind of rocky, that to me is kind of what I feel like right now for the
Yeah.
entire world over the next few months. And so it does invoke and evoke some feelings of like anxiety and fear and of the unknown, but tap into like for me, I tap into my like I just kind of put my hands over my heart and just kind of say like self, like am I going to be okay? And I feel like yes, I'm going to be okay. So that's all that kind of matters on the outside of that.
Yeah. And when you think of it from a universal level,
Hmm.
when I look at my tree outside my front door that loses all of its leaves,
Yep.
appears to look dead,
Yeah.
and this happens every year on a cycle,
Yeah.
is that tree worried?
Yeah.
So why can't we embrace the same type of thing, that
Yeah.
change can come without that fear
Yeah.
coming along with it? Is the universe as a whole upside down because change is coming? I don't think so.
Right.
Whether it's a spiritual thing, whether it's a God situation, wherever
Mhm.
you put your trust, do you think on a universal level it's out of kilter? No, I don't think it
Right.
is. I think everything is playing out the way that it's supposed to play
Yep.
out.
Yep.
We are the ones who get things feeling uneven.
Right.
We feel that kilter. I don't think the universe is feeling a kilter. It doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. True enough. No, true enough.
Like the sun is going to come up every day.
Yeah.
The moon is going to come up at nighttime, no matter
Yeah.
what happens in our world.
Yep.
Like if you look at places where there's turmoil, all of that stuff is still happening, because
Right.
I think the universe doesn't get involved in how the feelings.
Well, and that's it. We talked about this too, is that, Bashar talks, which is the channeler, people can look him up. And he talks about how the like we have change all the time, and that the universe is meaningless. Like I was telling you, like when he says it's meaningless, he doesn't mean it doesn't, like it's not important or anything. What he meant was that it has no meaning, but that it's the meaning we put on it by our
Right.
beliefs and our conditioning and our programming that gives it meaning. And I have discussed this even with my sister when she says, "Well, no, it's only this way." And I said, "Do you know one person who thinks it's something different?" And she was like, "Yes." I said, "Then there's always a choice." Like, as soon as
Hmm.
the only things that are always the same is when nobody else can think of it a different way.
Yeah.
So if you can always have someone see a different perspective, then there is opportunity for change in that. And that's
Yeah.
another part with the curiosity thing, is because that's like I know people where I have not liked the person or not gotten along with them, and my best friend loved that person.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said to my best friend, not that this, obviously she's a person on her own, but I was like, I'm okay if you like that person and I don't like that person. Just maybe don't invite us to the same dinner we're at. Like,
Yeah. And that's where as well, even if you look at things from a different kind of level throughout the world,
yeah,
doesn't take away from the fact that we're also both responsible for our own choices,
right,
and that we're not responsible as a universal place in this world for making wise choices. Doesn't
right,
take away from that.
right.
But what we think is a wise choice, someone else may think isn't.
Well,
And
and
it's being open to that.
not even that someone else, but the choices you make today might be different than the ones you'll make next week or the ones you made
Correct.
last week,
Right.
because like living more in the now moment, which is, as they all say, is the only moment that exists, and that I did that podcast about a few weeks ago, is like, because that is true. I mean, when you look at a dog and a cat, and you have Connor, I have Bean, I have my Asker and Ebony, and like they live for the moments, they live for the now moments, they're more in the now than we would ever be, because they don't go, "Oh, wait, when am I going to get my next meal?" No, they just, "Okay, I'm full. Oh, wait, now I'm hungry. Where's my food?" Like that kind of,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And so they live very much in the now moment. So that's what I would say too, is like centering yourself, bringing yourself back into the now moment, and letting things just kind of unfold the way that
Yeah.
it is, and see what happens. And I find my biggest excitements when I'm like curious and I'm open, and it feels so much different than if I'm closed and I'm like not curious, right? And I'm like,
Right.
"Hey
And
man,"
allowing the now moment to change.
right? And not being what you expect it to be, right?
Yeah.
Because like you get surprised, pleasantly surprised by
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
that will happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's kind of it today.
Yeah,
Are you embracing the ever changing now moment? Give it
there we
some
go.
thought.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk to us about that, if you agree, if you disagree, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know if this sparked anything within you. Let us know. We're
Yeah.
happy to hear from you, and Bunny will tell you how.
Yeah. I also want to say, like, I want to give shout outs to people who do. We have had people who have messaged us and said, "I really liked your chats today," privately or commented on our podcasts or on Facebook. So those are the places where you can find us. You'll find us on our Facebook page for At Above and Beyond. You can look us up. We're on there. Also for Spotify, for YouTube, for Google Podcast, like we're at everywhere where podcast or where podcasts can be found. You can also reach out to us at email at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com. Go to our website at aboveandbeyond.com. You'll actually find links to all of the different places to find our podcasts, as well as our Facebook page and everything else about us.
And we
So
are ever changing.
we are ever changing and excited to find out what's going to happen next. So
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
bye for now.
Bye for now.